I now give the floor to Mr. Khaled Khiari. Please, you have the floor, Mr. Khaled Khiari.
Mr. President, members of the Security Council, I thank you for the opportunity to address the Council on the long-standing cooperation between the United Nations and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation in maintaining international peace and security. At a time of growing geopolitical complexity, cooperation with regional and sub-regional organizations such as the OIC remain indispensable. Guided by Chapter VIII of the Charter, such cooperation is a key priority of the Secretary General and an important part of implementing the Pact for the future. The OIC brings together 57 member states and represents a vital political, economic, cultural, and religious constituency. Its voice carries considerable weight in some of the world's conflict-affected situations. The United Nations value this partnership, not only as a matter of institutional cooperation, but as an essential component of our efforts to promote durable peace, inclusive governance, and respect for international and human rights law. The United Nations OIC cooperation spans a broad range of country-specific and thematic areas. The biennial UN OIC General Cooperation meeting mandated by the General Assembly serves as a vital platform, bringing together senior representatives of our two organizations to take stock of our cooperation and discuss ways to enhance it strategically. In the context of today's complex geopolitical landscape and challenging financial environment, this meeting assumes increased relevance and urgency. Mr. President, in the Middle East, the United Nations and the OIC have long shared common objectives in seeking a lasting and comprehensive resolution to the question of Palestine. Most recently, the United Nations and the OIC organized the annual joint conference on the question of Jerusalem, held in Dakar on 9th of July. The United Nations also appreciates the OIC and the League of Arab States for endorsing the Recovery and Reconstruction Plan for Gaza through their Joint Ministerial Committee. This plan reinforces the collective push for a just and comprehensive solution rooted in relevant United Nations resolution. The upcoming ministerial meeting to support the two-state solution, co-chaired by France and Saudi Arabia, is key to highlighting international consensus around these goals and reaffirming the principles sustaining the two-state solution. In Lebanon, the United Nations maintains regular engagement with the OIC in support of the country's stability. Amid recent regional tensions, the OIC's consistent political backing for Lebanon has proven particularly valuable. In Afghanistan, the OIC is a key partner in our efforts for a coherent and structured engagement with the de facto authorities in the framework of the UN-convened Doha process. The OIC has also played an important role in supporting the human rights of Afghan women and girls through dialogue with the de facto authorities, drawing on its unique position as the collective and credible voice of the Muslim world. The OIC is also a vital leading voice in support of the Rohingya, highlighting the need to address the root causes of their displacement and to create conditions for their safe, voluntary, dignified, and sustainable return to Myanmar, including the right to citizenship. The United Nations welcomes the continued coordination between the Special Envoy of the Secretary General on Myanmar and the OIC in pursuit of shared objectives. In Sudan, after more than 2 years of relentless fighting, the warring parties continue to pursue military gains. The OIC's support to international mediation efforts, including those of Personal Envoy Lamamra, remains highly valuable as efforts continue to find a resolution that will prevent further disaster and return Sudan to a path of peace. The United Nations welcomed the ceasefire between Israel and Iran continue to hold. All international actors should speak with one voice in impressing upon the two countries to adhere to the ceasefire. The OIC resolution on Iran made at the 51st session of its Council of Ministers last month in Istanbul to establish an open-ended ministerial contact group on de-escalation to work toward the peaceful settlement of the conflict is a valuable contribution to international and UN efforts in this regard. Across contexts, such as the Sahel, Syria, and Yemen, OIC member states have lent important support to UN efforts to advance peace and security. Mr. President, we appreciate the OIC's cooperation in addressing global challenges that transcend borders. As Islamophobia continues to affect far too many people around the world and demands attention, we appreciate the leading role the OIC plays in confronting the rise of Islamophobia and all forms of religious intolerance. The United Nations stands against all forms of hatred and discrimination and firmly believes that diversity in all its forms only makes societies stronger. The Secretary General's recent appointment of Mr. Miguel Moratinos as Special Envoy to combat Islamophobia reflects the United Nations' determination to intensify efforts on this important issue in cooperation with the OIC and other partners. The United Nations and the OIC also cooperate on electoral matters. Through their long-standing and active partnership in this area, we have jointly implemented several capacity development initiatives in recent years. These have included co-organizing trainings on election observation and promoting women's participation in electoral and political processes for OIC member states. Our partnership has also included staff exchange programs aimed at strengthening cooperation and sharing of experiences and good practices on electoral matters. Our joint efforts in countering terrorism and preventing violent extremism continue to develop. Following the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding in March 2024, the United Nations Office of Counterterrorism and the OIC have advanced rights-based approaches through technical assistance, parliamentary engagement, and strategic dialogue. Mr. President, in a world beset by interconnected challenges that continue to grow and multiply, we must pursue every advantage and leverage every instrument we have at our disposal to deliver meaningful and lasting impact consistent with our shared commitment to peace and security. By joining forces, the United Nations and the OIC are helping to reinvigorate multilateralism and restore trust in our institutions. As we move forward with the implementation of the Pact of the Future, the United Nations OIC partnership will remain critical to diffuse tensions, advance sustainable peace, reinforce multilateral norms and principles, and promote equitable and sustainable development. Thank you.